Welcome to the Tourism Hub podcast, a podcast devoted to you and your excellence, providing inspiration and education for the entrepreneurs, experience makers, and excellence seekers of our industry to take your tourism business and career to a whole new level.
Relax.
Hello and welcome back to Tourism Hub. Still exploring Bendigo today, and I'm here with the wonderful Evonne Oxenham. She is the marketing and product development manager here.
That's right.
Now we talked about Bendigo Tramway, and we talked about this overarching organisation, which is the Bendigo Heritage Attractions, which is what Evonne heads up. Welcome and thank you for joining me on the Tourism Hub podcast.
Thank you for visiting Bendigo.
Visiting Bendigo, and what a beautiful surprise and delight it has been. It's so rich in history in our own backyard. As
Absolutely.
A Melbourneite, I've discovered so much today. It's only a 2-hour drive from Melbourne to get to the goldfields.
That's probably one of the things that a lot of our visitor services staff hear every day is people come up here and they go, I didn't realise what was here. I didn't realise all the things there are to look at and learn about here. And if I'd known, I would have come sooner. So we hear it all the time.
I'm already planning my trip with the family because there's so many boxes that are ticked in Bendigo, and it is really delightful. Now we are essentially sitting on top of a mine. Many mines. Tell us a little bit about where we currently are to give everybody, all our listeners, perspective.
Okay. So we're currently at the Central Deborah Gold Mine, which is a tourist mine in Bendigo, and we take people underground on underground tours. It was one of the very last mines to close on the Bendigo goldfield after the gold rush era, which started in the 1850s. And ran all the way through to the 1940s. So this mine closed, the second last one to close. And it was felt that it was a really important part of our history, and they decided to keep it running. So only half a kilometre from the centre of Bendigo, you've got this heritage mine that you can come and go on underground tours.
And the tours, is that something that runs daily? 7 days a week?
We run tours 7 days a week. The only day we're closed is Christmas Day. And we have 2 of our tours that run every day. And then we have our premium tour, which is the 9 Levels of Darkness tour, and takes you 228 metres underground. That one runs on Tuesdays, Fridays and Saturdays only. And it's a really great product and real adventure.
Wow. Now, in terms of the visitor that you currently attract to the mine, and I guess all 3 different, because we had a good chat with Dan from Bendigo Tramways, and there's 3 that sit under the umbrella. We've got the mine here, and also
the Bendigo Joss House Temple.
Now, the visitor that these heritage attractions that attract, are they all, do they attract different visitors, or you find that once you come to all, you want to see all 3?
Well, we find people sort of come for one thing and they end up sort of doing other things as well. So we probably get more of family market at the gold mine because kids love going underground and experiencing what it's like, 61 metres underground, in the pitch dark. But then with the tramways, we probably get your older market, your seniors and your people who've just got the kids out the house and they're looking to explore and learn more about their surroundings. But we do find that we get a lot of people who go, oh, well, I came here for that, but may as well go and have a look at the Joss House while I'm here. I may as well have an underground tour as well. So we do find that people are doing all 3. But probably more families at the mine. And your couples on the trams and at the Joss House.
And in terms of the Joss House, now you shared with me a lovely piece of history with the temple there. I said I've heard of the Joss House. I hadn't heard of it before. What is it exactly?
Yes,
And,
yes. So it's a really small, compact temple that the Chinese built when they were here, so that they could go and worship and speak with their ancestors. And there's a whole different. The Chinese culture has a number of different philosophies, like Buddhism and Confucianism and Taoism, I think it is. So they put those all together into the Joss House, and people can. Back in the day, they used to go there and worship. And today it's still operating temple, so we do have worshippers that travel from quite far afield. We get a lot of people from Melbourne, sometimes from South Australia, sometimes from Sydney, coming down here to worship at the temple because it's quite significant and quite rare in Australia. I think there's only a few other Joss House temples left in Australia. But it was because there was quite a large group of Chinese people who came to Bendigo when the gold rush happened, and there were people from all over the world that descended on Bendigo. It went from a population of 400 people to 40,000 people in a very short space of time because it was just such a huge gold rush. But the Chinese sort of came and they set up, and they weren't very well treated because people didn't understand their culture, so they got quite badly treated, and they got pushed into a camp to be separate from the rest of the Europeans and whatever that were here. But they were really resourceful, and they set themselves up and they built their temples, and they even started a market gardens because they could see that all the miners didn't have fresh fruit and vegetables to eat. So they started a market garden, and they actually saw the opportunity not just to find gold, but to make money in other ways from the miners that were here. So so the Joss House is a reminder. It's a living reminder, and it's going to be celebrating its 150th year in 2021, which is really exciting. And it's a great reminder of that history and how important the Chinese were to the city. And of course, we do have the Bendigo Easter Festival each year.
Yes, I heard that about today too.
And that was begun by the Bendigo Chinese Association to help raise money for the hospital and to help provide medical help to the miners back in the day. And it's still running today. So the Chinese have had a very significant impact on the city.
Incredible. And you were shown just how much gold was discovered, because you were saying, without the gold, Bendigo.
So I think Bendigo, the gold rush was 700,000 kilograms of gold, which was found during the gold rush era, which is a huge amount more than any other place in Victoria where gold rushes happened. So it's definitely, I think a lot of people don't realise that Bendigo had such a huge gold rush. And it sort of continues today because we've got Fosterville Gold Mine, which is just outside of town, having their own gold rush at the moment, and they're pulling out a lot of gold down there. And it sort of just mirrors the geology that's sitting right beneath us right now. They've sort of found a similar geology there, and they're really doing well. So, the gold rush continues in Bendigo.
Amazing. Now, in terms of developing these historical attractions into real iconic visitor experiences, what is, just in the same way that I asked Dan, just your own journey in product development and working within the community, how important has that been? And what's your kind of...
Our product development so I've been here for 11 years, and we've just done some great things over that time. We've introduced the new 9 levels of darkness tour that we spoke about earlier, but we've also been able to diversify the tram experiences so that it's not just a tram tour anymore. You can go on a blues tram, you can go on a drinks tram. At Christmas we were on the Santa tram, which is huge.
Yes.
It's amazing. We have 100 services in a 2.5 week period where we take thousands of people on the Santa tram experience. And we also have a yarn bomb tram. So we're really trying to not just have a static experience that doesn't change and that isn't accessible for the local community as well, because local support when it comes to heritage attractions is so important. Like, we could not exist if we didn't have the support of the community, and especially the trams, because they're right through the middle of town and we're a busy city. So to still be able to have heritage trams running through the middle of our city, we've really got to have the community behind us, and we do, and we're very lucky that everybody understands the value of heritage in the city, because it just makes all the difference, and everybody's an ambassador for what we do, rather than giving us a hard time about getting in the way of them getting to work in the mornings or whatever. So,
and that was really, really great distinction, that even like having a Friday night drink experience, like having a Friday night knockoff time tram, and it's going well. And I love this idea of just experimenting with different themes to engage local community and have people have different reasons to come back as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're always looking for ways to diversify, and it also involves a lot of collaboration. So with the Blues Tram, we work with the Blues and Roots Festival team, who are a volunteer organisation who run all these fantastic musical events in town over the year, but then they have this amazing festival in November that they run over a long weekend. Yes, we just had it a couple of weekends ago, so you just missed it. It was amazing.
Next year I want to put on the calendar for next year.
So it's really, we try and collaborate as much as we can with other organisations, and we've had foodie trams, and we get involved. We have a writers' festival here each year, so we've had a Sam the Story tram where we have a story time reader who basically presents stories to the kids on the tram, and it's fantastic. It's really great that we can work so closely with the community, and everyone's always super keen to get involved in anything that we ask of them.
Fantastic.
Or they approach us, which is even better.
And how far out do you approach a calendar, like an event calendar like that? Because you've got a visitor experience, you've got your tour product that is your standard, and then you've got your almost an event business.
So sometimes,
to that.
it depends. So sometimes things just come along and we just go, that's a great idea, let's do it, and we squeeze it in. And other times we sort of plan for things. So for instance, the drinks tram obviously takes a little bit of planning, because you've got to get all the right licensing and what have you. So it just depends on the type of product. But sometimes when it's, for instance, the yarn bomb tram, which we do every year, we get the secret yarn bombing group, and they come and decorate the tram for us each year for 3 or 4 months, and they just cover the whole thing in yarn bombing. And that sort of came along, and we were like, oh yeah, okay, let's give it a go. And it's just been huge. Like, we couldn't have imagined how popular it would be. So you just never know. We try and really be open to ideas, because sometimes they're not our ideas. But people say, oh, we'd really like to do this. And we think, oh, well, let's give it a go and see how we go. So it's just being really flexible and saying, yes, let's try stuff.
Fantastic.
See how we go.
You're flexible, collaborate, and yes, let's just give it a go and see where it takes us. And so far, you've had a good track record.
So and we have a lot of fun.
Turns to gold. Fun. That is. Now, in your own marketing journey, how have you seen things really transition with the digital landscape and delivering that visitor experience and attracting the right visitors?
So I think, like everybody else, we've found we've had to make quite radical changes to the way we go about our marketing. So we are much more online focused now. We put a lot more effort into things like websites, AdWords, and also videos and photographs. So, I think a lot of people go, oh, getting professional photographs is so expensive, but it's the cheapest advertising you can get, because photographs just sell your product so beautifully. And when you're looking at online forums like Facebook and Instagram, and even just your website, if you don't have really good photos, you're not going to get that message across, because people don't like reading too much anymore. They've got really short attention spans. So we're always looking at going, how can we say what we need to say shorter? How can we use imagery to get our message across and just make it as visual and appealing as possible.
Fantastic, and I love that you share with video. What's something that you do to engage more video? Is that something that you do batch like professional video content, or is there something you're doing in-house yourselves?
Sometimes, we try and do little bits in-house as much as we can, but we find that we tend to try and go for professional videos where we can. So one project that we've just recently finished is instead of having a photo on our homepage for the tramways, we actually got a video made. So that's on the landing page when you hit our website, it plays a video, because we really want to try and get across that the trams aren't just a ride on a tram, that it's an experience where you can hop on and off and see all these other things along the way, because the tram isn't just, passing nothing. Like there's the cathedral, you can hop off and go up to the art gallery, you can hop off at the lake, and we've got a beautiful lake, Waruna, here, with a fantastic playground and a restaurant right on the doorstep, and of course the Joss House and the mine. Everything is connected by the tram. So we thought if we create a video, people who haven't been here don't know how it's all connected, but if we create a video, then we can show them before they get here, and they can go, oh, that looks like a great thing to do with the family. So let's go.
Definitely. Even walking around the depot with Dan was really exciting. Just being in amongst the history.
Yeah.
And the skill set required to restore and maintain and repair. Like, it's quite significant.
Yeah, it's great. And I think, you can't really pass on that atmosphere that's in that building until you're there.
So true.
So there's definitely an atmosphere down there, and there's an atmosphere here at the mine as well. And it's partly because of the people that we have as guides and visitor services. So we're really lucky that we've got really passionate staff who really love what they do, and they really believe in what they do, and that it's an important thing to pass on the history of our city to others, because it adds value and it gives context to why the city is the way it is today. So people really get that message across, and if you look at our TripAdvisor reviews, that's the thing that they'll talk about the most, is this person was great and that person was great. So
every touch point, every person, yourself included, you can see it's a wonderful organisation. I think culture, just working and seeing, like you can, the passion and enthusiasm from the conductor and the driver. Like, I heard him say, like, a ticket's valid all day. Like, it was like he said it for the first time. Every time he said it, you can just really see loving what he does, which is important. And how do you maintain that? How do you find does that come, do you find when you're, is it at hiring the right people? Like, is there something organic that you're attracting people that already have that about Bendigo and about the history?
Yeah, and I've been in a few interviews where you sort of speak to the person for a couple of minutes and you go, you've got it, you're on board, and it's just, they're so excited, and they really have a love for Bendigo, and they just want to share a story and be part of it. I think it's more of just being part of it. And when you've got heritage infrastructure, it's hard because it's difficult to keep it up to the right safety standards and things like that. There's a lot of expense involved, so you've got to you've got to be quite resilient. But people will still go, yes, we've got lots of challenges, but we make it work, and we really because we believe that this is adding value to the community. And I think there's, the people are right, but they also get a lot of positive feedback because they can see they've got support from the community. Yes. And that helps them sort of go, this is worth doing. Because when you, for instance, with the Santa Tram, we opened bookings last Monday and we were 85% booked out by Friday. So
wow.
And that's the community going, we appreciate this. This is important to us. So, yes. And that definitely drives everybody and goes, oh, they love us. They like us being here.
We're part of something special.
Yeah. And it's the same with the mine. Often people will go, oh, I haven't been here since I was a kid with the school. But, you know, they still wouldn't, if we were to say we were going to close tomorrow, I think we'd have a riot on our hands.
Yeah.
People would come and sign petitions and make sure that that we were looked after, because they really value it and they see the value of it.
That is fantastic. And we're holding a training in the mine tomorrow.
Yes.
So even opening it up and seeing different, you know, using your spaces for different events.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
actually when I had to kind of did they say that?
Yeah.
Is that right? Did I hear right? Yeah, that's a first.
Yeah, so we do. Yeah, we have the underground function room, which is great, and we've also recently introduced a function space on the surface, and it's sort of like an outdoor space, but we call it the panning shed, and it's where we have all our gold panning troughs and what have you. But we've actually started running functions there in the evenings, and we were sort of like, we'll give this a go and see what happens. But we have had quite good take-up of it, and we've had a few weddings and engagement parties and birthday parties. So people really like, you know, being in amongst the heritage and being sort of towered over by a trestleway and all this like industrial equipment around them, having a party and celebrating it in Bendigo style.
Yeah.
We like to say.
Unique.
Yes.
It has been, it's very, what's the word? It's almost like these are very, like, almost like luminary experience. It's not something that you can get. It's something very unique to your destination, and you're leveraging every different angle of that journey.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, working with trade, like tomorrow here we're going to talk about international marketing and attracting the international visitor. How are you finding that for the group, for your attractions?
Yeah, we've been working with City Greater Bendigo for quite a few years to sort of sell the products that Bendigo has to offer, and I think we get, based on our data that we collect, we get quite a good percentage of international visitors coming through. I think there's still a lot of work to do. It's definitely a harder destination because we're not a high volume destination. We're much more about that unique experience, personalised experience. We don't do groups of 200, we do groups of 20. We like to keep things small so that we can deliver a really personalised experience where they get to know the guide. And so with Bendigo, we're definitely getting that more niche customer. We get a lot of FITs coming through, so our relationship with Sydney Melbourne Touring is really good because they sort of have that market where it's people travelling individually. But yeah, I think there's lots more we can do to improve our international visitation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a great narrative to share.
Yes.
To the international trade, and it's exciting. I think it's exciting for the destination. I mean, it's well and truly on the map, but I think it's always when you're kind of emerging into new markets or undiscovered markets, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, and I think it's also about getting more operators on board to sort of to see the benefits of the international trade.
Yes.
Because it's hard for them to sort of get that vision, because net rates can take quite a chunk out of your income. So I think that a lot of people still need to make that leap towards going, but this is going to add to what I've already got.
Yes.
And it's not going to be instead of type thing.
Correct. And I think that is an important distinction in speaking to a lot of small operators that are doing well locally or domestically. And yes, when it comes to looking at what you have to part with, but when you see it almost as a marketing dollar, reframe what that is, that investment in the product and in the wider development of a destination, of what that contribution could look like.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, word of mouth is still our best marketing tool. So the more people we've got coming here, the more people are talking about us when they get home.
Absolutely. Look, I set myself out on a journey, and it is all education, isn't it? Yeah. I set myself on a journey, and I just assumed it was going to be a 3+ plus hour drive
Yeah.
to come here until I put it in my,
Yeah.
my
It's not
Google
that far.
Maps. It's like, oh, yeah, I could have done this in a day, but just as well,
Yeah.
I've come here and made it a day, and I'm so glad I did. I think I would have done myself and everyone I'm going to meet a disservice to not have experienced this.
Yeah.
And you kind of really, and there's a lot to commend with your local business community too. Everyone I've met today is advocating for the story of the destination, not themselves. You can just see that, and that's already, that is a successful way forward.
Yeah, and we've just got amazing people here. When it comes to our food and wine industry, they're doing amazing things, and we've got that City of Gastronomy badge, which is
UNESCO,
amazing.
right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so there's so many people working in their individual fields, but we all come together, and whenever we can work together, we do work together. So we had a Heritage Uncorked tram about a month ago, where we had the wineries come on the tram, on the drinks tram, and they had a few of the winemakers on board to talk to people. And so it's just whenever we can, and they might just be small things, but it's just that working together where everybody's like, yay, we're all a team, rather than, we're all competition with each other, because that's really not helpful at all.
No. Not in our industry, is it? It's not,
No, you've got to work together for a destination to be successful. So
absolutely.
I think that's, that we all understand that mostly.
Yes. Anyone starting out in a career in marketing, so I speak to a lot of aspiring marketers or people that are stuck in their career and want to flick over to marketing. In the same sense, I speak to a lot of people that want to tap into tourism, whether they're in a business, they don't realise, they're starting to see that they're actually in tourism.
Yeah,
And they don't realise it.
Yeah.
Is there any words of wisdom or advice you would impart onto?
Probably it's just to learn how to have fun with marketing. You've got to have fun in order to get that message across, that people will want to come here and have fun. If that makes sense. But I don't know, tourism is just a dynamic industry, and there's a lot of opportunity. I think people don't come to a destination just to go to attractions and eat at restaurants. They go shopping as well. They go and look at all the parks and gardens. They go and get coffee at the coffee vans and all that kind of thing. So I think, it is about sort of imagining how you can tap into tourism, even if you're not necessarily a traditional tourism business. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to, with the way things are and with the environment and things like that, the way you can change your business to become more green and look at ways you can reduce your waste and stuff like that. That's going to get people through your doors these days, because people are looking to have less impact. So that type of thing, I think, should be a focus of a lot of retail businesses and even restaurants, to try and reduce the amount of waste, the amount of coffee cups and plastic forks and all that kind of thing. People will choose to not waste
will
if they
be
can.
a defining factor in whether I go or I don't. That is a very valid point when you're looking at almost, would you call it, emerging trends or the way forward for our industries, being a lot more mindful. And
benefiting from it in the long term, because people are starting to become a lot more conscious of their impact and noticing when there's too much waste in businesses and things like that.
So true, Evonne. And it's funny you mentioned retailers, because there's a Christmas shop in Bright. And she totally connects with herself being tourism, and she's saying that. I said, what is, a similar kind of question, what is it that's something that you would like to see change in our industry? And she said, I just wish retail would be seen as something that is also why people go to a regional town. because you
Yeah,
do find
you
in
can walk
regional
around, go
towns like
shopping.
something that you don't, that is eclectic and
Yeah.
it is kind of unique that you
Yeah.
want to take away, that I got this from Bendigo or I got this from, and I think that is...
I think there are some regional towns who do it really well, like
Yes.
Aylesford. They've got it sewn up
yes.
beautifully.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely other places, and probably Bendigo included, where we could improve. There are some businesses, and we've got retail members on the tourism members that are retail businesses, and they're fantastic. They're really great to work with. But yeah, we could do with more.
We could do with more.
We could do with
And
more.
I'm inspired to share the story of like kind of, it's almost like our story of supporting small business and buying local, of travelling local, just getting out, because I feel so remiss of taking me, 40-something years to get to Bendigo.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big, wider story in, finding our happy space. It really is only a couple of hours away from our doorstep sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes people, and I do it as well, when I'm sort of planning a trip and I haven't been to a place and I'm like, oh, is this going to be a disaster? Or is this going to be really boring? Are the kids going to complain the whole way? But I guess it's just, you've just got to have a little faith.
Have a little faith to explore.
And go and find new places, and you find your adventure, don't you? So it's really up to you.
That's my quotable. For this post, find your adventure.
Yeah,
that's a good...
Well, you make it good or not.
Yes.
It's all about attitude, isn't it?
Second high five. Love it. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you.
I will look forward to coming back tomorrow and look forward to sharing this. Where can we find out more about you and the mine?
We've got multiple websites, but I'll send you to our bendigoheritage.com.au, and that'll send you to all the attraction websites that we have. So, or you can find us on Facebook,
Excellent,
or Instagram.
Excellent. And by the time this comes to publish, I'll tag and link you, so it makes it super easy for everyone to connect with you and come and explore Bendigo themselves.
Lovely.
Thank you again. Thank you everyone for joining us and listening. Bye for now.
Relax.